Hello there, and welcome to this webinar on Human-Computer Interaction, HCI, for AI Systems Design. Firstly, we wanted to thank you for showing an interest in this course and taking the time to attend this online session. This webinar is all about you and how this course can help you enhance your career and amplify your skills. It's important to highlight that today we have gathered professionals interested in human-computer interactions from all over the world, including those invited by our partner Edureka, so thank you all for attending and welcome. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. This webinar is being recorded and you will receive a link to the recording in a follow-up email. You've all joined in listen-only mode. However, you do have the opportunity to submit questions by typing into the Q&A pane on the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We'll collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. Should you experience any technical difficulties, please let us know in the Q&A box, and a member of the team will endeavor to help you. In the unlikely event that we experience any issues, we'll send out a message and we'll restart the webinar. The presentation today should last around 45 minutes, and then we'll answer any questions that have been submitted. At the end of the webinar, please do take a couple of moments to complete a short survey where you can raise any further questions or feedback. We would like you to leave here today informed, excited, and with complete insight into what your HCI learning experience will be. So here are the agenda points for today. Firstly, we will introduce you to the course. We'll then provide an overview of content and structure before discussing the relevance of the course to you and your career. We'll explore your online learning experience. We'll be able to hear from our HCI alumni. And then finally, we'll answer any questions you may have before giving you the options for the next steps. So, the University of Cambridge Online, why are we different? Well, to begin with, all courses are developed and led by Cambridge academics. They are quality assessed by the Online Education Committee consisting of senior Cambridge professors. We offer weekly webinars with our course academics. These interactive sessions allow for direct contact with our course leads, in this case with Professor Per Ola Kristensson. We provide specialist tutor support with a low ratio of learners to tutors. We have a world-class learning management system that provides the best learning experience. You will also receive, upon successful completion, a University of Cambridge online certificate. We'll be able to see an example of this in a minute. Learners are from more than 60 countries globally. And finally, we've received highly positive learner feedback. 98% of learners across 16 courses in the September 23 cohort rated their courses good or excellent. As mentioned earlier, upon completion, learners will earn a certificate of achievement directly from the University of Cambridge Online and signed directly from the Pro Vice Chancellor. You can see an example on the screen now. Once you've received this, you can post this on your social profile or list on your CV or resume. Now, I'd like to introduce you to today's panel. First is myself. My name is Prof Per. I'm an enrollment advisor here at Cambridge Advance Online. We also have Professor Per Ola Kristensson, our academic lead for the Human-Computer Interaction HCI for AI Systems Design course, and Emily Tanner-Patterson, instructional designer at Cambridge Advance Online. Today, we are also lucky to be joined by Eva Zhu and Corinna, two past learners from this course. I'm now going to hand over to Professor Per Ola, our course lead, to introduce himself and the course.
Thank you, Philip. My name is Per Ola Kristensson, and I am the lead academic for this course. I'm a professor of interactive systems engineering in the Department of Engineering, where I lead what I call the Intelligent Interactive Systems Group, which basically is focused on designing machine learning-enabled new ways of interacting with computer systems. In addition, I'm a co-founder and co-director of the Cross-Disciplinary Center for Human-Inspired Artificial Intelligence at the University of Cambridge. I am generally interested in terms of my research on how to basically build really nice human AI systems that can either amplify people's abilities or generally allow people to achieve their goals in a more pleasant and efficient and creative manner. My claim to fame is the co-invention of gesture typing, which is now installed on about approximately 2 billion mobile phone devices that allow users to write text by sliding their finger across a touchscreen keyboard. And it's actually an example of an interaction technique, which is made possible through the course of AI. And interestingly enough, was actually conceived over 23 years ago by now. I have received a number of its distinctions in my field. For instance, I was named an Innovator Under 35 by MIT Technology Review for co-inventing gesture typing. I've been made a member of the Royal Society of Edinburgh Young Academy of Scotland. I won the ACM User Interface Software and Technology Lasting Impact Award, again for creating gesture typing back in 2004. And I have also received the Royal Society of Edinburgh Early Career Prize in Physical Sciences, the so-called Sir Thomas McDougall Brisbane Medal. Academically, I'm an associate editor of two of the key journals in the area. One is called ACM Transactions on Computer-Human Interaction. That's the leading area in HCI in general. And the other one is ACM Transactions on Interactive Intelligent Systems, which is the leading specialist journal focusing on interactive HCI systems that are powered by AI. I am also a technical program chair, or I used to be a technical program co-chair for ACM Chi when it was run in Germany in 2023. And Chi is the biggest conference on human-computer interaction in the world. I work with a number of businesses and created a number of products, including dwell-free eye typing, which lets non-speaking individuals with motor disabilities type efficiently, just using their eyes. And more recently, I worked with Meta on the Oculus Quest Pro headset, specifically the feature that allows people to type efficiently in thin air by just doing 10-finger touch typing in thin air and having the system automatically translating people's movements into the intended text. I've also been involved with a range of organizations, I think most primarily ACM SIG-Chi, which is the international subchapter in computer science focusing on human-computer interaction, and IEEE, which is the International Society of Electrical Engineers. In particular, I've been focusing in the IEEE chapters, focusing on virtual reality and augmented reality. In this course, I really hope that people have a positive feeling about AI. We hear a lot of negative things about AI and AI threats and AI safety and so on. But I actually believe there's huge potential for AI to actually make things better. We can automate repetitive tasks. We can amplify humans' ability to provide input, and we can provide better support for decisions and so on and so forth. Now, to do this, one of the key challenges is to actually identify the right problem to tackle. So when it comes to design, it's as important to arrive at the right problem as it is to arrive at the solution. Because as we approach a solution, we do what's called problem refinement. We keep understanding the problem better and better, and we gradually refine it. And by the end, when we have come up with a really nice solution, we also have a really, really good understanding of the problem we're trying to solve. And there are techniques for doing this, methods and techniques, and I'm going to teach them in this course. So there are systematic ways of being creative. It sounds a little bit paradoxical. Can you be creative using systematic techniques? But that's actually the way it works. People are more creative using systematic methods. So in general, in this course, I try to address what I call the tell me what to do problem when I approach a company. That's usually what they ask me. Tell us what to do. And basically what I'm trying to do is come up with a set of methods and techniques as a toolbox that allow you to basically build efficient and creative and safe human AI systems. So now let's have an overview of the course. In the course, Human-Computer Interaction for AI System Design, we will learn how to practically model and design human AI systems. And we'll do a lot of things, but I think it's worth focusing on three things. One is to craft a problem statement that inspires human AI collaboration in a constructive way. So this is really as much about understanding the problem as it is about understanding the solution. So we'll talk about how to arrive at solution to problem statements and how to start with an overall function and gradually decompose it, and generally use a range of systematic methods to have a really good understanding of the problem and what we can do about it. Another important thing is to identify and mitigate risks in human AI systems. So we're going to talk about a range of frameworks, including system mapping and risk management, that allow systematic methods, again, to basically allow users to have a good understanding of the potential and the risks and ways of mitigating risk in a human AI system. And finally, another thing we'll address is to bridge the gap between the demands that may be arising and the capabilities of AI, to sort of learn how to best map AI functions to the demands in an organization or in a system. Okie doke. Now let's have a quick poll so we can see how familiar you are with the subject matter of this course. Please choose if you're extremely familiar, very moderately familiar, somewhat familiar, or not familiar at all. Just choose the option that describes you the best. Okie doke. So I can see that there are some people that are not familiar at all, 14%. I can see a sizable majority here, 43% that are somewhat familiar, and 27% that are moderately familiar, 12% that are very familiar, and then we have 4% that are very confident and are extremely familiar. Okie doke. Let's continue to look at how the course is structured. So the course is structured into 8 modules. The first module is called is basically about what we can do with human AI interaction. The second model is where we start a systematic design method. So we basically start with an overall function and we decompose it using different ways of arriving function models. And once we have arrived at these function models, which operate at the functional level rather than the implementation level, we can then apply frameworks to these function models early in the design stage. So one thing we learn is how to apply automation frameworks to identify the potential and the limitations of automating various functions in our design. That nicely leads on to module 4, which talks about interactivity. So how do we infuse interactivity into our human AI system? We introduce the concept of mixed initiative systems, where both the user and the system can take initiative for automation, but also such systems allow the user to control automation in sophisticated ways. And we'll also talk about what's called AI teaming and partnerships. So models that allow a user and an AI to work collaboratively to basically tackle a user's goals. That leads to module 5, because if we're going to try to control something, we need to be able to interpret. So what we do in module 5 is we're going to talk about ways of enabling people to understand and interpret AI systems. And once we understand how to enable users to understand and interpret AI systems, we can then go to module 6, which talks about managing control. So how can we bestow control to users so users can actually steer an AI system in the right direction? And we're going to touch on the very important concept of what is known as agency, the sense that the user's actions actually matter in interacting with an AI. So what can happen in a poorly designed human AI system is that users feel no responsibility of the actions of the system, because the system is autonomously performing tasks for the user. And this is very dangerous because it leads to issues of trust and complacency. This then leads to module 7, where we talk about how to govern human AI systems. So how do we manage ethics and safety, and in particular risk? So we'll be looking into some systematic methods for how to map systems in a systematic way and risk assess systems using a range of risk assessment methods. And finally, module 8 talks about what we have arrived out of this design process, some sort of system that we can evaluate. And we'll talk about how to verify requirements, how to validate that the system is actually fit for purpose, and also importantly, how to study a system when it is deployed with users, and how to design for what is called appropriation, the fact that users will use systems in unexpected ways that are unanticipated by the designers, but there are tips and tricks that can be used to allow people to appropriate systems better. And that is very important to ensure that systems are adopted by users in practice. Regarding assessment, you will need a minimum grade of 70% to pass the course. And that's composed of 40% of participations. You'll gain marks for active participation in various interactive activities and assignments throughout the course. And you also gain 60% through a final project and assignments. So you'll be assessed on 6 end-of-module assignments, each of which requires you to design an aspect of a problem report related to that module's content. And you'll also be graded on a final project report. So due to the high-level systems thinking approach that is required here, this course is recommended for professionals operating at a senior or managerial level, or people aspiring to such positions, such as senior product developers, product design managers, lead system designers, and directors of user interfaces or user experience. This course is widely applicable to a wide range of industries. It does not require deep technical expertise or deep quantitative thinking to participate in the course. So professionals managing product design, development, and user experience in a range of industries will find this course useful. For instance, some of these industries include manufacturing, the general technology areas, financial services, including insurance and banking, healthcare, maybe particularly in the production of medical devices, and also people interested in designing consumer and commercial products. In terms of past learners, we can see what they come from the following backgrounds. 41.3% come from a design and user experience background. About 13% come from an engineering and technology background. 10% come from a management and leadership background. About 4% come from the education and research field. And then 8.7% comes from some other category. After you've completed a course, you will have gained some advantages because this course enables you to do the following. You can basically go into in-demand roles, so you can transition into an in-demand positions such as user experience or user interface designer, AI interaction specialist, or you can start doing HCI research. You can also achieve industry impact. You can lead innovative products in technology, gaming, healthcare, and other areas where you can generally help improve the user experience with AI. It also allows you to advance your skills, to enhance your portfolio with cutting-edge HCI techniques that actually are not frequently taught in my experience. Some of these techniques will go through. That makes you a prime candidate for leadership roles in technology, design, and development. And of course, it allows you to do some networking. So you gain access to a global community of professionals and experts in HCI, interested in HCI and AI, and that allows for some great networking opportunities. Now I would like to know what you would like to achieve by taking this course. There's a new poll popping up, so please choose what you're looking for. Professional development, career shift, to start your career, or lifelong learning. All right. So I can see that a vast majority, 77%, are really interested in professional development. Some of you are interested in a career shift. A few of you are interested in starting your career. And some of you are interested in lifelong learning. Well, I think the course is good for all of these things. So I think you will find it really useful, whatever your purpose. And let's look at how the course has impacted past learners' career progression. So 92% have applied their newly acquired knowledge and skills to their current role, which is really exciting for me because it means the course has really impact. And 59% have applied their newly acquired knowledge and skills to a new role or project, which again, I find is fantastic. 92% feel more confident in their current role. 92% feel more confident to apply for a new role in their current field, which absolutely should be encouraged. It's such an exciting, dynamic field. And 25% are considering a career move into a different field. And now I will hand over to Phil, who will be presenting 2 past learners of this course.
Thank you so much, Per Ola. Yeah, very much today we're fortunate to have with us 2 past learners who'll be sharing their experience on this course and answer a few questions to provide some insight. I'm pleased to introduce Eva Zub, Senior Process Development Engineer at Unilever. Hi, Eva.
Hi, Phil, and hi, everyone.
Thanks so much. We'll jump straight in. We'll tackle a few questions. So, first of all, what were your most valuable takeaways from the course, and how have they influenced your approach to HCI and AI design?
Well, that is a really good question. In fact, I do have a lot of takeaways, so maybe just trying to consolidate. The most valuable takeaway would be like not everyone working in the AI field is really coming from a computer science background. So it's really regarding to the poll we just had, about 16% is really from expert or very expert level. I feel interdisciplinary collaboration involving different fields such as psychology, design, and engineering is really critical in design thinking. In regards on how, in regards with how have that influenced my approach, I say really opened up my mindset, and then really value diverse perspective in solving complex problems. I hope that answers your question.
That's brilliant. Yeah, thank you. And could you provide an example of how you've applied the skills and knowledge from the course to a real world project or challenge?
Yes, certainly. So maybe just giving people a bit of background of what I do. So I'm a process development engineer in FMCG field at Unilever. I'm currently working on the rollout of digital data capturing system in our advanced technology center. We're capturing information, including machinery settings and also analytical testing digitally. In the HCI course, we covered a topic in ethical consideration. It really helped me in the design phase where I'm taking the responsibility to ensure design are ethical, transparent, and fair, just refer to what Professor Per Ola just mentioned. So for example, transparency, to improve the transparency, really to think about how to allow user to understand the rationale behind the decisions.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you. And do you mind if sharing how the course has impacted your career trajectory or opened up any new opportunities?
Yeah, indeed. My future career path is more defined, certainly I feel that after the course finished, as I'm moving towards engineering and also digital field now. After expressing my interest within Unilever, my job role and also the responsibility shift as part of my personal development. Consequently, I changed teams and also have been involved in project related to the digitalization strategy.
Awesome. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much, Eva. I'm going to now introduce Corinna Kremin. She's Senior Product Designer at Spotify. Unfortunately, she hasn't been able to join us live today, but she has recorded her experience to share with you. So we're going to play a short video for you now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Corinna. The most valuable takeaway was being able to assess whether AI is a suitable route for a defined solution-free problem statement. So the key takeaway here for me is twofold, really. So first, it's about ensuring that a valid problem exists for users. And next, it's about assessing multiple options, really, for solving that problem. And ultimately questioning the validity of using AI, so weighing up lots of elements such as cost, implementation, and ethical impacts. And these particularly spoke to me as I wanted to find tools and processes to ensure I didn't blindly jump on the latest bandwagon, but I wanted to really equip myself with the world-class strategic thinking to be confident that I was making the right decisions for the right reasons, and most importantly, having a strong awareness of the power of governance when it comes to human-AI interaction. Some practical advice would be to read the course literature for that week ahead of the live sessions, if you can. Of course, only if you can. This includes the first session. I didn't realize I could access the course before the first session, so I had a little catching up to do for the first couple of weeks. And so I was a week behind schedule from the offset, which led to a couple of extra late nights. Obviously, nobody really wants that. But I was able to catch up over time, so that wasn't an issue at all. And so regardless, I could always follow those live sessions and discussions, even if I hadn't read the course material beforehand. So the structure works regardless of that. In terms of aspects of the course that I found most engaging or beneficial, I would say it's mainly the format. So I think the format was really, really fantastic. I could genuinely access the course materials in my own time. And the live sessions were so well structured. Per is absolutely fascinating. And he has so much experience in this field that it was so interesting to hear him and his perspective every single week. In fact, I genuinely missed those live sessions. And if you ever have a podcast, I'd definitely subscribe to that. Excuse me. I also found that carrying out the coursework and meeting new people, having live discussions and written discussions really just clicked and ignited something again in my brain, and something I haven't done since I was at university. So there's something really, really amazing about the analytical and strategic thinking and the discussion forums and putting myself out of my comfort zone that has actually altered my day-to-day work and how I approach work as well. So I felt a lot more confident in work conversations and also more empowered to make the right decisions, especially when it comes to AI.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much to Corinna, and thank you again to Eva. I hope that's been helpful for everyone. Now we're going to move over to Emily, who's going to talk about the learning design and experience.
Thanks so much, Phil. I have to say, just hearing past learners on the course and hearing how much they benefited from the course, it really makes my work as a learning designer feel really worthwhile. So I hope everyone who's attending this webinar today will get to have those same ideal learning experiences. So we put a lot of effort into ensuring that our courses are built with you as a busy professional learner with goals in mind. And we do that by using the latest research in learning design methodology to ensure rigorous, high-quality learning experience that teaches you actionable and transferable skills that you can take forward into your workplace, as you just heard from those two past learners. So how do we do that? Well, first off, we use an active learning and application-centered approach. What that means is that you're not reading page after page of dry text or sitting through a lot of long, boring lecture videos. This also isn't just click, 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 and then answer a couple quiz questions and get a certificate. We embed short activities that allow you to check your understanding, apply the new skills that you're learning, get feedback on what you might need a little more work on or what you haven't quite mastered. And also that makes the course a whole lot more interesting to engage in. We also make use of social learning. So as you just heard from our past learners, we embed social learning in the course. This is because we know from research that learners learn as much from one another as they do from the experts and from the material in the course. So we use interactive tools like discussion boards. We use an interactive whiteboard tool called Miro and a social annotation tool called Hypothesis to allow you to do more than just talk with words, but also to exchange drawings or point things out in papers. And all of this is monitored by our fabulous tutors who not only keep an eye on what's happening in the discussion and help clarify points or encourage discussion to take place, also keep an eye on those interactions to make sure that they're appropriate and safe. But our tutors are also available for support through our inbuilt messaging system in our virtual learning environment. The majority of the course, as you heard, is asynchronous so that you can engage at your own pace. That means you can work the course material around your own schedule. And our courses are very carefully designed to sit at right around 6 to 8 hours per week, including that live session. You're able to work through the asynchronous material on your own time. And then it all comes together in that live session where you get to meet and interact with your peers, your tutor, and of course, Per Ola himself. The weekly live sessions are your chance to get clarification on something tricky, to take a deeper dive into a particular aspect of the module content, and to talk, of course, to other like-minded professionals. And we know that you're busy. You may not be able to make it to every live session. They may not always be scheduled at a time that is workable or convenient for you. So they're all recorded and posted within the virtual learning environment so that you can watch them after the fact or review them if there was something that you needed to look back on. So all of this is built into our best-in-class virtual learning environment, which is called Canvas. And we're going to take a look at Canvas now. So you can see this picture on this slide shows you the front page of the course built into Canvas. It's a very clear platform to navigate and engage with the content. So we're going to give you a quick look by playing a video, and I'll talk you through what you're seeing and how it relates to the virtual learning environment and the course. So here you can navigate through the different modules of the course by clicking on the front page. You can see that the content is presented very clearly. We have these interactions built in. This just lets you take a different look at how the content lays out. And again, some activities to let you check your understanding. you can see that it's not all text. We have a number of graphics embedded as well as videos, all done by our amazing in-house graphic design team and in-house media team. And wherever possible, we ensure that the activities are interactive in nature. It's really an engaging learning experience. And as you heard from our former learners, you take away a lot of transferable skills that you can then take into your own professional context. Canvas also allows you to populate your learner profile with images, bios, socials, and that again enhances that opportunity to connect with your fellow learners, not just within the course, but as desired outside of the course. And now, Phil, it's back over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily. That was super helpful. Well, now that you have all of this information, what are the next steps? Well, I would like to connect with anyone who has further questions or wants to dive deeper into the contents of what was covered today. There's a link on the screen to book an appointment. This link will be shared in a follow-up email as well after the webinar. But if you want to take it down now, please do so. It only takes a few moments to schedule, and calls are usually under 15 minutes to kind of get the key questions answered. You can also contact me via email or use our general email, which you'll find on the website. Course enrollment can be done right online, where you can pay by card or request a quotation. Our next course is set to start on the 22nd of April, and we've got future dates this year in July and October. Now, if you haven't already, please do use the Q&A section to send in your questions about this course, and we will answer some of them live for you now. Let me pop up the screen and see what we have. Scroll back. Perhaps a quick one for Per Ola here is, could you please repeat the name of the biggest conference for human-computer interaction?
Sure, Philip. It's CHI, which is spelled C-H-I, so it might be a hard search based on the pronunciation. The abbreviation is a bit anachronistic. It's the oldest conference on human-computer interaction. So the full name is ACM Conference on Human Factors in Computing System, a very outdated term. So CHI, C-H-I.
Perfect, thanks. And perhaps covered slightly, but just to reconfirm, does the course require any extensive programming knowledge, specifically AI machine learning coding?
That is a great question, and that's not the kind of course this is. This is basically a course that allows you to come up with a human AI design, interactive system design. And we basically can do all the design, all the risk assessment, determine how to evaluate the system, and so on and so forth. And the next immediate step following this course would be to actually write Python code or hire somebody to implement things, and so on and so forth. So that would be the immediate thing following basically the completion of this course.
Brilliant, thank you. And we've got a question here. So how do you relate ergonomics to this course? Probably one for Per Ola again.
Yeah, so ergonomics is basically related to what people call human factors engineering. So ergonomics is a wider term than computer systems. It also involves, for instance, chairs, displays, and fatigue, and so on and so forth. So there are elements of ergonomics, small elements of ergonomics that are related to human AI interaction in the course. For instance, we do talk about risk assessment. We do talk about efficiency and keeping people safe and so on. But we don't talk about physical ergonomics, and we don't really touch much about cognitive ergonomics. If you're interested in that, you should probably, if you're primarily interested in that, you should probably study a course in the area of human factors engineering.
Perfect. And a question here that perhaps just goes into a little bit more detail for the assessment. What format does the final product report have? Is this an essay, a presentation, or something else?
Is it for me, Philip, or Emily? I can probably answer.
It could be a bit of both, to be honest, but whoever wants to jump in.
It's a report. So the format is a report. So basically it's structured in the way that basically gradually by doing these exercises at the end of the modules, you'll end up with a report. And the final exercise is to sort of tie in all of these things you have done into an integrated report at the end as an output. As sort of a design brief that you can show to your boss or pitch if you want to start some sort of new startup company and pitch it to a venture capitalist at that level. Basically, as I answered in a previous question, it is the step where you can start thinking about, okay, how do I actually write code and build this stuff, or hire people to do that for me?
And if I can just jump in and add a tiny bit of detail. So I realize that sounds like a really daunting project, but what we do is we break it down week by week. So you do a tiny slice of it each week, and you're able to get some feedback on that slice. And then at the end, you write the last tiny slice, if you will, and you've had a chance to sort of tidy up everything that you've already done, taking into account your feedback, and then you submit all of that sort of polished, finalized bit is what you submit as your project. But it's not take the whole course and then write a massive project. It's broken down in a very digestible way.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Emily. A good point with spreading it out. I've got a question here about the live session timings. I'm happy to answer that one. In terms of live sessions, that they are confirmed ahead of each enrollment period. So we do repeat the course throughout the year, and obviously around Per Ola's own availability, we'll then set the timing. So we have April set. They're going to be scheduled to take place weekly on a Tuesday at 1 p.m. UK time. They are recorded. They're not mandatory to attend. They are optional. You're not penalized if you can't attend them. So you'll always be able to catch up if there is, for any reason, a problem in attending. Next question. I'll take this one as well, because that probably touches on the flexibility. So a question here, I have a week during the 8-week period, which I have a vacation with family planned. Sounds like I will be able to be flexible during this week. In short, yes. I think in terms of commitment, we recommend 8 hours each week to keep up. There are those tasks and activities that are set each week, which will often have deadlines to submit. There are some discussion topics and things that will be around the participation part of the assessment. So if you're able to keep up during that week, that would be ideal. If not, the tutor is on hand throughout the course to kind of provide advice, give some extensions, and kind of help you out. But certainly flexibility available there. Yeah. Christine will joining the live sessions will be mandatory, as mentioned, no, optional. They will be recorded as well, so available to be watched in your own time. A question here, what level of experience do I need for the course? We've touched on it, but perhaps just to reconfirm. Per Ola, perhaps.
I'm happy to tackle that, yes. So it's designed so that you should have life experience probably to benefit the most. Like life experience, I mean, like the best experience is that you have done you've been involved in developing systems or products or services, or changing organizational systems for organizational reasons. That's the best sort of experience, because then you can relate to what we're talking about in the course to what you have experienced in the past. I've been quite careful not to require extensive quantitative skills beyond what you probably have learned in high school. And most of the theories we are presenting, if not all of them, are sort of presented from the ground up. So I think it's mostly about ideally having some sort of professional experience, or if not having that sort of professional experience, to sort of be willing to sort of read up a little bit on that, right, and familiarize yourself with it, because that allows you to sort of relate the concepts in a more tangible manner.
Yeah, perfect. And another question potentially, Per Ola, is how is the course material structured to balance between theoretical concepts and practical applications in HCI and AI? A pretty good question, I think.
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of the things that frustrated me actually was that there is a lot of theories and in human-computer interaction, and there's a lot of actionable knowledge, but it's not elaborated on, right? So it's sort of distributed in strange places, like you have to read research papers essentially, right, to find it. And if you pick up a textbook, it then doesn't tend to teach you actionable things. So one thing I focused on here is, of course, we go through theory as a motivation, but I think I'd venture to say that I've actually been really striving to introduce tangible, actionable frameworks and methods throughout the modules, right? So things that you can do, right? That so basically allow you to go one step following another step and actually concretely making progress in your design. Not just, think about this, think about that, but how do you systematically actually arrive at the design?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And a question here in terms of the course, do we think that it can be used as a stepping stone to pursue a PhD in HCI?
I think it could. It's not what the course was designed to do, to be completely honest, right? It's designed to upskill professionals developing concrete systems and services and thinking about systems and services in different organizational contexts or for making new products and offerings and so on. It does give a whirlwind tour of some very actionable human AI interaction techniques that I think are quite difficult to find out as a PhD student on your own. It depends on your PhD supervisor, of course, and how read up they are. There is no specific textbook, for instance, you can read to pick up on the knowledge in this course. So in that sense, it would be useful, but it's not the primary purpose of the course.
Yeah, perfect. I think we've got time just for one more question. So I've got one here that perhaps is a little bit outside of the usual, but would someone who is studying industrial or organization psychology benefit from this course if they are wanting to combine AI and psychology? Per Ola.
I think so. If you're interested in actually contributing to the design of systems, then this would be a good course, because it's sort of, we're not going to revisit many psychological concepts here, so you won't have much redundant information in that sense. And the background is perfectly suitable for the course. I guess what the course will bring to the table is that it would, again, give you these actionable frameworks and methods for how to design human AI systems, what to think about, and how to elaborate on the design. So it probably, if your goal is to basically contribute to some sort of design, then absolutely this could be a suitable course.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, there's lots of questions there, and I think we're going to run out of time, but just a quick thank you for joining today's sessions. Apologies if we haven't had time to answer your question. We will endeavor to get back to you on any questions or topics that we haven't been able to address today. As a reminder, there will be a short survey when you exit the webinar, which will give you the opportunity to post those questions if we haven't managed to answer them. Please do take a couple of moments to provide us with some feedback. Look out for a follow-up email later this week in which we'll share the recording of the webinar and some of the useful links that have been mentioned today. Thank you all again, and have a lovely rest of the day.